Okay.
Hi, Vanté.
Hi Olivia. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm just chilling out really. It's my day off.
Nice. So how about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Um, so my name is Kyle Vanté Terrode. I'm 25, currently in London or living in London. Originally grew up in Jamaica. I'm a creative freelancer, i.e. illustrator, painter, photographer, videographer, and professional roller skater. It's a lot. It's actually a lot. But yeah, that's me in like a little nutshell. Um, yeah.
Very, very busy. That's quite a lot under your name.
Yeah. And that's the stuff I do in my spare time, really,
Oh boy.
not my actual job on 9 to 5.
Well, thank you for taking some time out of your probably busy schedule to meet with me.
It's all right.
So how about you tell us a little bit about what your journey with mental health has been like?
Um, so my journey with mental health, if anyone's watching this, see the color of my skin, it's not a thing that's really promoted in like uh or ethnic family. So whenever I used to hear about mental health as a kid or growing up, used to think that they're like, oh, they're just crazy, or they need to pray or speak to God or something, which sometimes it helps, can't lie, it does help. But my personal experience with becoming aware of my own mental health and having to deal with it, it was quite a shock, really. So I moved here when I was what, 13? Um, yeah, when I was 13, I'm 25, as I've said. So coming to a new country to seems everything's just completely alien to me. And having to immediately try to fit in, get over like people trying to bully you. Like I don't really didn't rise to it or anything, but there was some aspects of that. Um, and just having to deal with it. It was just a lot. There was like there's no family around you, there's no friends, you've left all of that behind. And yeah, that's when I kind of really started feeling it. So towards the last 2 years of secondary school, it's like year 10, 11. I'm not sure the equivalent in America. But so yeah, that's when I started to like really feel it. And it kind of took the form of insomnia where I couldn't sleep for like probably days on end sometimes. I'd get in like really late to school. I didn't really see the point of a lot really, like of life. It's quite a dark, but at like age 16, I was like, it wasn't to the point of thinking like suicidal thoughts, but it was just a thing of like, what is the actual point to life? And that's where I kind of like started my journey of like self-discovery of who I am or who I want to be, of how I want to navigate and explore life really. But it sounds quite straightforward, but it took me years to even understand that and get to that point. Like there was times when it was all good, it's all fine, and then out of nowhere it was like quick flip, it's just down in this dark place. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. How did I get here? And even looking back now, like I can't even pinpoint a specific thing or things that would have led me to that point. Um, but I just knew that I was there and I didn't know how to get out of it. And I struggled with it for like probably 3 years, like hardcore, like in that space. And it took some friends and just myself, I guess, to kind of like pull me out slowly, slowly. Um, but yeah, that was the worst of it. At like between the ages of 17 and 20, trickled over into like 21. But by that point, I was trying to get a handle on it. But even with saying that, like now I have a much better handle on it. I can kind of not really predict, but I can feel when I'm having my mood swings or the ups and downs. I can feel it before it happens, and I can adjust accordingly if I can. Sometimes, not all the time. Um, like even last night, the whole of yesterday, I was quite up there, like bubbly and whatnot. Then I went out, and by the time I was coming back home, I was literally like low, so low. Like I had my headphones on. There was no music playing. I was just like skating to my house. It was like a 10-minute skate, but it took like 20 because I was going so slowly. I was just caught up in my head, just thinking about life, like what am I gonna do next? Because I mentioned to you before we had this meeting, like I have 2.5 weeks left on my job because my contract didn't get renewed. So I was thinking about all of that, and it was just a weird sensation. And I had to tell myself, like, I can't afford, especially now, I can't afford to get myself in that space. And I've come to realize that a lot of it is to do with yourself and how you manage your feelings and expectations and just how you navigate those moments of negativity. But yeah, I think I think that's about it really. But I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, like as you said, like mental health, like sometimes it's hard to like predict when you're gonna hit the highs or the lows. And
Yeah,
sometimes you don't even know like exactly why you're feeling the way you're feeling. You just know that like this doesn't
it's
feel
just
right. Yeah,
yeah, literally.
it's tough. And so then I guess like as like an athlete and artist and everything else that you do
Mhm.
you find that like your work influences your mental health much or that your mental health influences your work?
Yeah, yeah, it does. So especially with like the whole active side of what I do in terms of like filming or skating, when I feel like this, I'll literally have no motivation or physical motivation to do it. In my mind, I'd be like, oh, I want to do it, I want to do it. But when I actually put my skates on, I'll literally just be, like I said, just rolling around doing nothing or just be thinking than actually skating. In terms of the artist side of it, it's a more interesting relationship. Sometimes I can feed off it and put it back into something like a piece of artwork. Actually, I can quickly find something while I'm talking here. Sometimes I can do that, but then other times it just debilitates me to the point where like I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to see my sketchbook. Um, so yeah, literally like you just said, you never know what's gonna happen or how it takes effect. So prime example, clean my screen, was this piece. I don't know if you can see it that well. I'm trying to get the light in.
Oh yeah.
I can send this to you later if you want it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, send it to me and I can maybe post it on the story or something.
Yeah. So I should do that now. But so yeah, that's an example of like feeding off that kind of energy and putting it back into something. Yeah, put it back into something else and redirecting it into something a bit more positive. In this case, you might not think it is because when you see it properly, but I feel once you can redirect that energy into something else that takes you out of that mindset or that physical place, it, I think that's a good thing in itself, really. But yeah, it's a mixed bag. Sometimes I can channel it, sometimes I can't, and yeah, I just have to just go with the flow,
Go with the
kind of
flow,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And how have those around you, like positively, maybe negatively affected, like your headspace?
Um, a number of ways actually. So I don't know, I kind of consider myself an empath in terms of like connecting to people's feelings or expressing my feelings onto someone else. I feel like I do that quite easily. And so in my daily 9 to 5, it's not really an environment I want to be in. So there's also that kind of grates at me. And then when everyone else is around you is very stressy and they don't really know what they're doing, but they're above you, like your superiors and that, then it's just not a good feeling. Then you have to be like, because I'm a supervisor at work, so I have a team under me, and then I have my managers above me. So I'm literally that in between. And when they are stressing out, it trickles down to me. I try to hide it, and that in itself, it takes quite a lot. It's quite draining. And then the rest of the team, they can feel their stress, and then they come into me like, "What do we do?" kind of thing, and I'm like, "Just chill, take a breath, and we'll get through this." So there's that, and that, like I've been saying, like it kind of grates on me, because one, it's not really a place I want to be, um, because like I said, I do so much already, and I'm having to put a lot of this on the back burner just to go work, and it's that in itself as well, like that decision in itself, it really irks me. But positively, I've I think I have a very good like support network of friends. So whenever stuff like that happens at work, I can talk to them like, "Oh, this thing happened at work today. I feel like this, blah blah blah," and then we'll cuss them out, or we'll talk about, "Oh, you should have done this instead," or anything along those lines. And even if they have nothing to say really, it's just the fact that I can share that in a space where I'm not judged for it, and I know maybe not exactly, but there are others that are going through similar things. It kind of like it puts a different perspective on it. Like you're not unique in this aspect of life. Like it's a thing that happens, and we just need to be able to manage it and get through it. And yeah, so a quick example of this as well, especially to do with like the skating and the athleticism or athletic side of it. Last year's summer, like end of summer, or actually last summer, there was a lot going on within the skating community, and a lot of stuff was being said to like the younger skaters by older skaters who you'd think would know better, but I was hearing a lot of it back, and it wasn't being said to me, but because it was being said to people that affiliated me, like it started it started having an impact on me. Like I started seeing these people in different lights, kind of thing, and it wasn't healthy. And I didn't realize this. I kind of did, but I didn't realize the impact it was having on myself until literally the end of last summer. I had a random a random session with this Reiki like master, and she was like, "You're really holding a lot, aren't you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" So we had this quick little session, and it was a whole experience. And at the end of it, I basically acknowledged everything I was holding in, um, as well as from like years prior. So, quick tangent. My my stepdad died end of 2019. 2020 he got buried, and then there was things from that trip back to Jamaica, from the whole experience that I hadn't dealt with, that even like what 2 years later It was still in my subconscious. I didn't realize it. But at the end of the session, like I've let go all of it. I've acknowledged all of it, and I was literally in tears at the end of this thing. And the same people that were saying some of this stuff, like they were there as well, and literally forgave them. I didn't express to them this, but like within myself, forgave them. Just let go of that animosity. What do you call it? Yeah, just let go of it. And it was like this huge weight was just lifted off me. And yeah, I kind of realized like I need to take better care of like mental health, who are allowed to actually access me, and who has access to, or who's able to affect me in that way, kind of thing. But it's been a whole process, and even like coming to realize that and understanding what I have to do and actually executing what I have to do. It was like a whole probably 7 year process that I still haven't perfected. Still struggling daily, but try to make the most of it, really.
Yeah, I feel like, especially when it comes to mental health, like it's no one day fix or anything. It's not something you can
Yeah,
just
there's not.
snap your
There's not.
finger and you're better or
Wish
whatever.
there was.
If only. It's a long process and it's something you just kind of have to continually work at or just kind of like keep in the back of your mind. And
Yeah.
so what would you say that like over the years you're like maybe in like the last couple years, I know this is a tough question. What would you say your biggest struggle has been?
Probably consistency or commitment to anything, really. Like whether it's a project, timekeeping, to significant other, like not say I cheat or anything, but just before it gets to that stage, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get into that before it gets to that stage, kind of thing. And I've let that happen probably too many times. But yeah, definitely that's one of my biggest like setbacks, is just being able to stay consistent. Whatever I say I want to stay consistent with, I'll probably do it for a bit, and then it will just spiral out of control, and I can't stay with it. But yeah, I'd say that it's consistency.
And then what tools and strategies have you found have really helped you with your mental health?
So like I mentioned earlier, so having a good network of friends or people that I can just be, it's a non-judgmental space where you can just be free. That's one. Being physically active is another one. And routine. As much as I said like consistency isn't is a downfall for me, but routine, it really helps as well. Well, for me personally anyway, it's helped. And it doesn't even have to be anything spectacular or big. It could just be waking up at a specific time, going for a walk, or just journaling, or just doing something. And you know you're gonna wake up to do that same exact thing for a while. I don't know, there's slight comfort in it. Because sometimes being in that state, just not knowing what's coming next, it can be so overbearing and overwhelming at times. It just makes it worse. So just having those little things in place really helps. And also, being that I live in London, the sun, it really helps, because majority of the year we don't see a lot of the sun. It's a lot of grey skies. So whenever the sun's out, just soak it up. Literally, that vitamin D, it does wonders. Serotonin, all that stuff in your brain.
I know, I totally agree. It's crazy how much of an impact just like waking up and having the sun there can just do to your mental health.
Just
It's
wonders, isn't
crazy.
it?
Yeah. So I guess we're almost finished here, but to close,
Mhm.
what words of advice would you give to someone who's currently struggling with their own mental health?
Um, don't neglect it, for one. Um, I probably should take this advice myself, but seek someone like professional help if it is that bad, and if you don't have access to a support network or a bubble. Um, and yeah, 1 second. I have this little journal thing. That's quite good. Like, so this is a sketchbook, but it's also a journal. Keep a journal. You don't have to you don't have to write in it every day, but any thoughts or anything, any ideas, just write it down. If you feel impressed to draw something, and there's these little things that literally takes your mind off your here and now sometimes, and it helps. Like if you're not a great speaker, writing down your thoughts and going to see someone can literally just hand them the book. I was like, this is how I've been feeling, and this is what I wrote in the moment. So it's pure, it's raw. These are like genuine emotions on the paper. So that kind of helps. Maybe pick up a new hobby. That really helps because it gives your mind time to unwind, learn something new in a very stress-free environment. Well, I say stress-free, but that's down to you and how hard you want to go with it. But yeah, just experience life. End of the day, just experience life because there's like we've said, there's no like 1 day fix. Like these things, they worked for me. It might not work for you, but you'll never know what will work for you unless you try something new. But just being stuck in that same stagnant mentality or that physical space, just get out of it any way you can. Just get out of it. Just change the scenery. Even something as simple as going to sit in a different room, it can really help. So it's little things. Um, and yeah, that's I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah.
else to say.
You know, I love that you mentioned just like experiencing life and because I mean it seems like straightforward, but sometimes we spend so much time being caught up in the future
Hmm.
and like our plans and where we're going, what we're gonna do, or even sometimes like looking back on what we've done in the past, things we wish we'd done, that
Yeah,
we kind of forget about living and experiencing kind of each moment that we're currently in, and then
yeah.
we miss it, and then we're looking back again or looking
And it's
forward.
just like this constant cycle.
Yeah.
So even for me personally, it's a thing that I wouldn't say struggle with, but I don't do it as much as I should. So I'm kind of working on like enjoying the moment more, or just I don't know, just going with the flow. I've always been like that, just going with the flow, see where things lead. But now I'm trying to like say double down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
And
lot harder than it
it's
sounds.
it really is, because as much as I say, oh yeah, I want to do this thing, that thing, and then like 5 minutes later, I'll probably get a phone call or a text, and I can't do this thing or that thing, and it's annoying, but it happens sometimes. And another part of it as well, sometimes just don't take things to heart, just let it go. Like I was saying about last year, a lot of that was because I took it to heart and I just held it up like that. And they say never bottle your emotions because when it explodes, it's a whole mess. But it's the same with that really. If you leave things like unanswered or untreated, you never know where that will take, like that wind will take you.
All right. Well, I think we'll end it there, but thank you so
Yeah,
much for taking the time of your busy schedule to speak with me, and hopefully you've inspired lots of people who are watching this to maybe take some more steps in their own mental health and just kind of start having those conversations.
yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. And I hope it does as well. Because that's part of my whole like goal really, or ethos, to, I don't know, make people smile and enjoy, you know? But yeah,
All right.
thank
Well,
you for having me on as well.
of course,
Yeah.
have a wonderful day.
You too. It was nice talking to you.